Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth segment of Women at Work under the episode 3. This episode 3 is the last episode in season 1 of Women at Work. To introduce you to Women at Work, it is a durational research work conceptualized by 4 curatorial partners: Tracing a City, Live Hive, Photopia, and Art Initiative Bangladesh. In this process, we focus on a creative process rather than creative products. And we bring in women artists, understanding women in the most inclusive manner, women artists with us to collaborate. And through a special format that was conceptualized by the 4 curators, we try to enhance the essence of their work and create new understanding and create new ways of looking at work. Women at Work started the first season by August this year, and every month since then, August, September, and October, we occupied 11th to 20th of the dates. And in these 10 days, we collaborated with very exciting artists from diverse range of locations and diverse range of practices. This episode, on the third episode, we also have 3 amazing artists with us from 3 locations, from 3 diverse understanding. Today we are going to have a conversation with them, and we will try to explore the thematic engagement that we had in this episode, which is home and belonging. So without any further delay, I would like to welcome our contributing artist on stage and start this lovely conversation with them. I have first with me Anushka David. Hi, Anushka.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Then I have Amy Singh.
Hi.
Hi, Amy. And we have Kannakee with us. So Anushka David is from Delhi,
Yes.
Amy is from Chandigarh, and Kannakee is from Brussels. Welcome, everyone. It was a lovely journey with you all. Since 11th of this month, we got to know you in a better perspective. You got to know us in a better perspective, and your practice also, and all the understanding, all the thought process of work that we discuss. So, A for Apple. So we have 2 A's here. Let's start with Amy, because we know Anushka as David, so D comes later. Hey, Amy.
Hi.
Hey, Amy, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. For the first time, somebody asked me back. Thank you. I'm doing good. A little warm. Yeah, and other things, I think you know some bits of it. But so tell me, where you are, Amy, and what do you call this place?
I am in Chandigarh. I call this hometown, and I am in my room, which is at my home, and I call it home. Feel at home, actually. That's where I am.
Right.
I feel I'm home. And in these past few days that we have all been collaborating together, this too has started feeling like a non-physical home. So in that sense also, I'm feeling quite at home right now.
Right. Great. Anushka, what about you?
I'm in Delhi currently. It's one of my many homes. Yeah, I feel like I'm with my parents. It's been a long time since I'm living so codependently, but yeah, it's going good.
All right. And Kannakee, where are you? We can't hear you properly, Kannakee.
You're in Brussels?
Brussels.
Can't
No
hear.
sound. No.
Now?
Yes.
Now? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So I'm here in Brussels right now. Very recent.
The voice is gone again. You have to stick to the screen badly.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just in my new home in Brussels. I'm always
Mhm.
looking for a place to play.
And what do you call this place?
What do I call? Well, this is my home. It's just my new home
Mhm.
now. Home in a new country.
I'm just guessing all of it.
Oh, this is terrible.
But yeah, so try to fix it. I'll go back to Anushka.
Okay.
All right. Yeah,
The loudest, clearest voice that I have.
got it from my mom.
Yeah. So Anushka, we will come back to the home concept or the understanding of home. But tell me, who is Anushka if you don't have the name? If we don't know you as Anushka, what how do we know you? What you are?
I think very few people know me as Anushka because they have like thousand other names for me. But I feel like she's like a being that has so many layers that even she's trying to figure out how many. Each day, it's like there's a new part of me that gets attached to who I am, and it's like a puzzle coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, I guess it's a puzzle that I'm trying to make, and the others are trying to figure out what the picture is being made as I'm putting it together.
Now you put me in a puzzle because that puzzles out my next question. But let's see what happens. So Amy G, who is Amy?
Hanji.
Hanji, who is Amy without the name?
Um, I think somebody who is always trying to um, live in response and reaction to whatever is going around her. I don't feel like the same person I was a week ago, and I'm sure I will not feel like this person, like David said, you know. So I think I'm somebody who just lives in a reaction and response to what's going on around her. Yeah.
And who David became for you? How would you explain David?
Oh, my
Uh,
surname.
No. Like
Okay.
Anushka, how would Amy describe you?
Got it. Got it.
as somebody I felt connection with, and though I didn't know she existed 10 days ago. And so it really, really, makes you think of what really is beyond that, what meets the sight. So even when people are not in your visible proximity, they are still connected to you. And then there comes a moment then you come across them visibly and you can recognize the connection. So with David and with Kannakee both, I believe it was just a matter of recognizing the connection that was already there that we didn't have to make.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody I
Okay.
remember, somebody I knew, but just met after a very long time, like that.
In a
हाँ,
past
कहीं तो
life.
देखा है.
देखा है कहाँ रवि की पार्टी में.
On that note, Amy, did
Yeah.
this present life of yours started
Yeah.
in Chandigarh?
Yes. I am born and brought up in Chandigarh. I've lived here most of my life. But if you ask me, I have this homesickness for Lahore. So if there are previous lives, I have a feeling I might have belonged to Lahore because a part of me still does and feels at home with Lahore. Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Let's hear it from Kannakee. If we can hear.
My name.
Yes, who you are without your name.
I think I've been born and brought up, and after that, I've been born and brought up
In
in
Assam, which was silent, yeah.
and Assam is very known. So I think from a very young age, I my so even if
I
they
can't
look,
guess that.
oh,
I can't dare to guess that.
oh,
Okay.
So
Let's try it one more time.
yeah. So for me, I'm always in new places where I am not my name. I am me as a body, as a form, living feel.
Can you repeat the last line?
I said that I'm a body in a form, living in different places with real experience.
Okay. This is like okay. Can do one thing, Kannakee. You leave and join again. Try that. If that helps. I don't know. It's the technical part. We don't know what to do about these things. But come back. Yeah. Okay. I will hold all the questions for you. Don't worry. I will stack them all. Okay. So the question that was puzzled out by David.
Yes.
That was I wanted to ask. Um, do you know where you belong, or if I want to ask that, where do you belong? You think, and as you have so many of Davids, I'm surely like using your dad's name. I should say
Yeah.
Anushka, but
Yeah.
I'm sure Uncle knows where he wants to belong. But let's hear it from Anushka.
Yeah. Um, so where do I belong? That's an interesting question because I feel like belonging is such an abstract concept because it has so many balances, I feel, because it the ideal belonging starts from inside for sure. Like the second you accept who you are for what you are, then the rest of the world can decide whether they get to be a part of that home. And it's not me who's changing myself to fit into any home. And as soon as we do that, I feel like belonging just doesn't make sense anymore because we're trying to see ourselves from someone else's perspective, which is not the reality. So I feel like we have to keep digging deeper into ourselves to figure out who I am. And every time we do that, we become more comfortable with the home that is our body and our mind and our spirit. So I guess that's that would be my answer.
Hmm. And how long do you think it took you to understand where you belong?
How old I am? 21 years.
No, thank you. But that was not the question. But I'm asking, like, when you say, when you just explained, where you think you belong, it felt like you had your own journey also. Not always we can be comfortable in our body always. I think each of us has to take that journey because the society that we live in doesn't really let us be comfortable in that, right? There are a lot of stereotypes and a lot of things. So,
Definitely.
how long was your journey? Was there a journey that you had to
There
take?
was there was a very, very rough journey that I had to take. But I think like it was during this, I said 21 because it was this year that it actually like things made sense to me. I just really thought about it about like where is the beginning of like my journey with myself, and I realized that I had rejected myself many, many years ago, and all the decisions that I made that harmed me was a product of that rejection. And I feel like once I could see that lie that I had told myself which caused the rejection for what it was, I feel like the rest of everything that I do and I did made sense to me. And that itself was a part of me that I figured out, which is a part of me, how I reacted to that rejection, which is also a part of me. So I feel like just from understanding that, I started truly being open with myself after seeing the truth. I could see myself for who I am, and I can start from unlearning and learning new things about me. And that's why I feel like it's very abstract, like the whole concept. of searching. It's an ongoing process. You have to keep searching for yourself, like how Amy said. Like a week ago, I don't know like who that person was, and sometimes we just don't, and that's also part of us. And just every day figuring that out will help you so much more in accepting yourself, because if you accept yourself, there's really nothing anyone can say, because they don't know, they haven't been
Yeah.
inside
They're
your
not in your own shoes. Yeah.
body and mind. Exactly. And we know where we came from and why we made those decisions. They don't know that, so they don't get to make that judgment. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, basically it's an ongoing process.
Of course. The moment I ask you the question, Amy has been preparing for that. I love this face when Amy makes it, like, thinking Amy. So I'm gonna keep Amy waiting.
I'm feeling quite at home with my thoughts, so that's okay.
Satya's going to be ringing the bell very soon.
I think it's Sadya who's frozen.
Okay, we're back. Amy,
We are back.
what
Yeah.
was that?
Oh, well, don't try to make me any longer, make me wait any longer. That was divine intervention.
Would you be kind to wait for 2 seconds, Amy G?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm coming back to Kannakee. Kannakee, this is a question, but take it as an audio check. Where do you think you belong, Kannakee?
Guys,
And if you know where you belong.
I strongly believe in roots, but
Mhm.
my sense of belonging is just always that I'm
Belonging is always, you can go a little bit slow, then we can guess.
I said that for me, roots is very important. Where I come from, my land, my ancestors, is very important. But for me, I never feel a sense of belonging in any certain place. I just feel like I belong, like wholly and solely, like within me.
Hmm.
Yeah, if there is a place where it thrives on love, you feel like you belong there.
It's a pity that I can't hear you properly,
Yeah, we
Kannakee.
can't hear.
But I strongly have this feeling you're saying something lovely.
Yes, I think I get that feeling too. But
Yeah.
what we can instead do is that, Kaniki, you could text us and we could read the answer for you.
Yeah, please
And
do that. Yeah.
audience can also
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah. So just prepare that. Just text us. We have a reader in house who's always keen to read. Lovely way she has. So we will do this. And anyway, like we have the 4 segments in Woman at Work. Let me brief this out for the audience who are watching us on live. In Woman at Work, the unique process that I was mentioning at the beginning is a format which was conceptualized by the curators, where we have 4 segments. And the 4 segments are about text. At the first segment, we interact, the contributing artists interact with the selected dedicated moderator through text. And then in second segment, we interact through visual. On the third segment, it's about action, where we go live in the studio. And in this fourth segment, as you can see, it's a combination of all three: text, visual, and action together, where we finally come in a conversation, and we get to know more about the contributing artist, where we have been looking at their understanding, at their visual works, and at their actions previously. And you can also directly question them, share comments, and they would be happy to answer them and interact with you all as audience who are with us. Okay, Amy, do the honor.
Sure. So Kanaki said that I strongly believe in roots. Where you're from, your land, your ancestors. Although the sense of belonging for me is more about myself, where my whole self is. A place that thrives on love is where I feel I belong.
Amy was not only reading, Amy was also correcting the spellings.
I think that is because that's part of being a language facilitator.
Okay,
But
great.
see, we knew that she was saying something lovely. Isn't
Of
it
course.
lovely? To
Is
belong
it?
where love is. Wow. Beautiful.
It is. I wish everybody could hear it from her, and then
Yes.
she speaks in so strong way. But let's come to
Absolutely.
you, Amy. What do you think about this?
Where do I belong?
Hmm.
Um, so
Where do you think you belong?
I, when it comes to belonging, I go more by where I feel that belonging than where I think I belong. So there is that always that difference between thinking and feeling, and I'm more about feeling. So I felt home, like Kannakee said, wherever there was love, and even if it was momentary, even if it was in the moment I'm reading a poem and somebody is listening to me, and we have each other's undivided attention in that moment, I felt quite at home, and I belonged there in that moment. And likewise, life is made up of moments like this where I really see no stranger. I don't think I by default see people as strangers. So I belong a lot to people, to places, to memories. Well, I think it's just that feeling and it's just there.
Hmm.
That's what belonging is for me. If I
And
feel
somebody
it,
is saying,
belong.
"Wonderful, Amy." Shukwan Singh. A
Thank
lot
you,
of people are
Sukhwan.
watching with us. Hmm.
Sukhwant is a beautiful violinist. He also tried to teach me violin at one point. So he
Hmm.
was my teacher. I must thank him on live publicly.
Okay. We wish we had a segment with audio that we could hear it.
Yeah.
But it was a lovely performance that you had on the segment three. I must say, I must tell you that. So,
Shukriya.
Amy, I was also reading in the segment one while you three were going through this textual interaction. You somewhere mentioned, the belonging, the 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 first belonging or the primary idea of belonging ends when you reach at that point, and then the second circle of you know hoping to belong somewhere starts.
Hmm.
How was that thought process then?
I think when I say that I belong with a lot of people, a lot of places. So it's not that I always belong. There are also periods when there is this, sense of homelessness, homesickness, lack of belonging, lack of not fitting, lack of not connecting. And I think that always happens when I'm disconnected with myself, when I don't belong with myself. I automatically stop seeing that belongingness with things, people, moments around me. And that's that phase, that's that vacuum, that period where there is longing but no belonging. And then
Mm-hmm.
you come again to some other sort of belonging. And I think it's a process. And as it unfolds, you belong and you outgrow, you belong, you outgrow. And then some belongings just are constant, they carry on. Yes, that's the thought process for me.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing. So I'm coming back to Anushka.
Yes.
Some of the Anushka that is present with us.
David, yes.
So, Anushka, tell us how was your experience through this process of Woman at Work
Oh, it
since
was,
11?
I think it was a affirmation and an eye opener in terms of what belonging means to me and in retrospect to the world, because I feel like I recently had this journey of learning to belong in myself. And when you sometimes go get too into that, there are walls that can be made. And I think I narrowly escaped that, as this whole journey made me realize that people, although you shouldn't live in other people's homes, like they can definitely be parts of your home, of your house, and the house that you make. And they're them not existing in your house doesn't mean that you're homeless. It means that part of the house is missing, and that's okay. And you'll eventually build a new one, and you'll find a new home. I mean, new part of that house. But the fact that they are parts of our house, and they are very special, so you should never stop yourself from experiencing home in other people as well, because that's all a part of understanding even who you are, since they can be huge parts of who you are. So I think that's what one major thing that I've realized through this whole process of understanding home and belonging.
And which part of the process, like which segment,
The first
it
one
was?
where we ask our close friends and family those questions about home and belonging. I think in understanding their perspective, it made me really introspect on how what their meaning of it means with my meaning of my understanding of it. So combined, it was a beautiful like explosion of thoughts, I guess.
On that note, I want to recall Shilpi Agarwal being the collaborating moderator also. I would love to bring her on screen also to share the experience, I think. You can also shoot questions that, hey, girl, why did you do this to us? Like, or something. Okay. So, Amy, what about that? The experience, how was it?
Um, for me, it's always important to understand uh, more than what I understand as an individual, be it anything, And when it came to the idea of home and belonging, um, it was very interesting to see other people's perspective, because so many times we are so stuck to our idea of what it is, and in getting stuck with that idea, how we also contribute to making other people feel homeless or homesick, how we also sort of push them away, push them out, and give them that loneliness because we are so stuck to the our own idea of home. So this process was interesting and very thought provoking for me in this sense that I got to see कि बाकी के लोगों के लिए घर का मतलब क्या होता है, और जब आपका और उनका घर का मतलब एक नहीं होता है, तब आप कैसे एक दूसरे के साथ बिलोंग करते हो, तब कौन सी चीजें जो हैं, कौन से धागे हैं जो आपको बांधे रखते हैं, जोड़े रखते हैं, कहाँ पर आपको उस if belongingness was a plant, where do you keep it, in what corner, sunny, shady, how much do you water it, who cares for it. So ये सारी जो चीजें थी, ये सारे जो सवाल थे, वो मेरे जहन में आए, और इसके बाद मुझे लगता है कि खत्म नहीं हुए हैं, शुरू हुए हैं, और ये चलते रहेंगे. I think it's something that I would be staying with for a very long time. But I got a very very beautiful takeaway कि मुझे जब होम और बिलोंगिंगनेस को एक कलेक्टिव के तौर पे देखना है, मुझे सिर्फ अपने आइडियाज को नहीं पकड़ के रखना है, उनको साइड पे रख करके आई हैव टू कीप एन ओपन माइंड एंड ओपन हार्ट, एंड दैट्स हाउ आई हैव टू गो अराउंड feeling at home and making other people feel at home. So yes, that's how it was for me.
Beautifully you put it. And actually that's true, it just started. None of the artists in previous episode also leaves us, because as you know, in the segment 1 where you start
Yeah.
the journey with
Yeah.
us, you all become the owner of the blog. You all will have the access to it always. You can again extend the writing, and all of the previous artists have it. So that's how we uh, design or operate Women at Work, that who comes in, they only come in.
I'm
We
sure.
don't ask them to leave. They are part of the family. We create a new home. So that was a beautifully explained from you, Amy. I love this. So I already placed the question to Kannakee, and we have the answer, and Amy will do the honor.
Yes.
So
So
Kannakee's experience in Women at Work.
Kannakee's experience at Women at Work. Kannakee says, home and belonging is a subject close to my life's journey. With Women at Work, it was a great outlet to bring my varied experience in an artistic manner. All four segments were amazing. I struggled with writing, as I'm not so good, although I pushed myself and expressed in a medium that is not mine. Coming together as a collective was absolutely heartwarming. The community building aspect for me with Women at Work is the future of connecting beyond any geographical boundary. That's what Kaniki
Good
said.
job, Amy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Kannakee. Yeah, when it was actually, I mean, writing is not everyone's language, basically. And just to clear it out for others who are also hearing us, it's in the segment one, when we interact through text, it's not about writing always also. It's about expressing yourself through, text, word, syntax, the visual of writings. It's not about writing an article or a blog. And the way the process that was designed in this episode was more of getting more collaborators to get the answers. When the moderator placed one question to you, and you had to send them out to other people who I mean, the catalyst in your life or non-catalyst, who your friends or someone, and their perspective, like Amy, you were explaining, and David was also explaining
Yeah.
that experience was amazing. And still, Kannakee was also obviously a bit scared about, I'm not the writer, but then I guess you also enjoyed the process, where you were participating with so many other friends. Yeah, Amy,
Can I
please.
say something? So,
Yes.
I just realized that Kaniki ne kaha ki writing is not her most preferred medium of expression, so she felt limited. Uh, I walk around labeling myself as a poet and a writer, and it was equally difficult for me, if not more,
I was just gonna
because
ask you that.
it was equally difficult, if not more, because suddenly I'm texting my sister or say my partner or somebody that I feel home with or belong with, and I'm sending them these questions to get their perspective. It's not easy. First of all, the thing like, oh, I didn't realize that this idea was somehow very personal, not just to me, but to other people also. So they were not really ready in that very moment to talk about it or to discuss. Sometimes they would take time and never come back with any answers or their perspectives at all. So when it is not just something that you are creating from your own mind, and you have to hold another person's space for the other person to be honest and not hurt you in the process, because the idea of home might be different. It was not really an easy experience, is what I was trying to say. It was very cathartic, and at many points you had to not take things personally, and yet keep that personal, that human, that intimate part intact in it. Not let that go, but stop taking things personally and then put it out objectively, rationally, full feelings. So yeah, not an easy thing.
Something difficult for Amy. I never knew that. So to go a bit more about all three of you, Amy, would you like to elaborate more about your practice, other than Women at Work? What you did in Women at Work? As I said, it's a process to look at, to experiment with the views or ways of looking. But would you share more about your practice as a creative practitioner? We count everyone as a creative practitioner, not necessarily our artist, the so-called artist boundary that we have around us. Share about your practice.
um, my most preferred expression medium of expression is poetry or written word, and then I perform, and spoken word becomes a very a natural medium to me. But as a practitioner, really what I'm trying to do is observe deeply what's happening to me, observe deeply what is happening around me, and then respond with an intention to reel out a little more love in the world than I find or than I sense. I think love is really what I understand of love is really the epicenter of my practice. And that is not just limited to my poetry or my art. I think it is how I live my life, it is how I take those decisions. And there's not much that I have to say about this. It's just that love really becomes the epicenter of from where I operate and go out into the world and do whatever I do. Yeah, that's my
And why do you prefer to be a public poet?
um, because especially in South Asian context and in India, public spaces are considered unsafe for women, and rightly so for the most part, because ऐसा होता है हमें public spaces में रातों में महफूज महसूस नहीं होता. पर I had this inquiry. I just had this curiosity. What if a woman was to go out, stand with lots of love and a longing to belong and do something? What will the reaction be? It can't be that people are close-hearted. It can't be that everybody wants to just violate you and your existence. Where are the people? Where are the people who believe in the idea of love and belonging and safety and that human connection? And if I just keep sitting home, I'm never going to find them. So I had to go out and see for myself. And it's been 4 years. I've been a poet of public spaces. And though I have been groped and catcalled and eve teased 1,000 times in public spaces, but not even once while performing in public spaces. So I believe when Rumi says that what you seek is seeking you, will find out. You just have to get up and do something about it. That's how I became a poet of public spaces. Just wanted to put more love out there, find more love out there. Yeah.
You do one more thing. When you don't know who is the public, you write letters. What about that?
Letters. Yes, again, longing, right? I said when you feel homesick, there's this longing and you want to belong. So Lahore seemed like something that is so close to me, yet किसी ने उसको उठा के मुझसे इतना दूर रख दिया है, इतनी लकीरें खड़ी कर दी बीच में कि मैं मोहताज हूँ. I'm dependent on other people to give me a visa, a stamp, and a permission to go. Why it's something that feels so personal and so close to me? How come it is so distant? And I'm a very resilient person. I always protest and I always stand up. I'm a stand-up kind of a girl, I believe. So I wanted to stand up to that. And one day I read it in the newspaper that there was this food joint in Chandigarh जिसका नाम था बिरयानी कॉर्नर था. तो उसका नाम था लाहौरी बिरयानी और उसका नाम लाहौर चौक और उसका नाम बदल के लखनऊ चौक रख दिया because we don't have good relations with the neighbor country. And I felt कि किसी ने मेरे किसी अपने की identity पे hit किया and I lost it. And that was the first night I wrote a letter to Lahore and I've never stopped ever since. So again, this is again a bridge that I'm trying to build. Love that I'm trying to uphold when all I see around me is indifference and hate. So just an act of holding that love that I feel, that belonging that I feel. So whether it's standing up in a bazaar and reading poetry, or it is writing letters in Lahore and sending them to General Post
Did
Office.
you ever read out your letters?
Yes, some of them I do read them out, and some of them just remain personal. And yeah, I think I like it that way.
Okay. Interesting. We should. I hope. I wish we could find out what happens to the letters on the other side.
So the ones that go to the General Post Office, I don't know what happens to them either. But many people, because of this movement, they started writing to me and they started, giving me their own address. Hame likho. And I have sent some letters to those people and they have written me back. So I might say I have some pen pals there now.
You are anyway a famous face. the heartthrob, as our moderator says in Chandigarh. And now you have fan followers
दिल
there.
दिल के बहलाने को गालिब ख्याल अच्छा है, but I would settle for that somebody who's really loved, yes.
Anushka and Kannakee is not bad also with fan followers. I can see comments where the friends and followers are really, really encouraging and appreciating all this.
Yes.
Good going, Anushka. So I'll come back to Anushka while Kannakee prepares the answer. I'll drop you the question, Kannakee, soonest. So tell us about your personal practices, Anushka. I got to have previous conversations with you, through your visuals, what you understand and everything. So tell us about that journey.
I think from a very young age, I feel a lot. Like anything that happens to me, anything that happens to this world, I feel like I feel it very deeply. And since I've always enjoyed creating things out of nothing. It could be pens, it could be springs. Like I would always, my hand would itch to create something. So I feel like my art is like a combination of two parts of that personality, where I love to create and also I feel a lot. And personally, I feel like our art should speak about the world around us and how it fits in us, like a Russian doll expression. And I feel like that's about it. That's what I'm trying to do with my art. Trying to make this world make sense so that it would make sense to me. So that I feel like a part of me believes that if I can convince the world that, you are accepted with all your shortcomings, your flaws, and whatever sets you apart, and I will be able to convince myself as well. That's
And this
what it is.
understanding of yours, it appears in your work in what formats? Like Amy's letters, she
Okay.
writes, she's a poet. What are the
Yes.
formats that you find, explains the best out of this thought process?
Currently it's photography and photo editing. So manipulation of my photographs. So I feel like recently I've begun to make myself the art piece that I use to create a message. And I think through my self portraits I am trying to put across a picture of a reality that exists, in my head, and should help others as well understand how I am, and through how I am, understand how they are, I guess.
So the visuals are something that is working out, and
Yeah.
and you experiment with other disciplines as well.
With other siblings?
Other disciplines, siblings.
Oh,
If you get enough to experiment with.
I have actually. I did a series where I clipped my 8-year-old little sister with my grandmom's clothing and jewelry, because I wanted like the smallest link of our family to be attached to the oldest link of our family, and just to show that. So yeah, I did with my siblings.
Okay, that gets into your discipline. Done.
I don't like having discipline actually in my art, because I feel like it's a very flowing process, and I feel like the art of creating something is why we should create. And it sounds very like cliched that it's about the destination, but I feel like in that destination is where you make the discovery about yourself, and the result is the result
Yeah.
of that, basically. So the result should never be the primary focus. It should always be the journey, because that's
I
when you
guess that's
figure
how
out
it
the
should
art.
be. Yeah. Otherwise, you serve a purpose. You don't serve your thinking process, or you don't serve the expression that you want to bring out. That's so true. I have the same question for Kannakee. What is the core essence of our practice? And Amy will again do the honor.
So Kannakee's answer to this question is that My personal practice is to live my life truly to my core, to be my authentic self. And dancing makes me happy. Moving with my body and communicating beyond language, I try to build inclusive dance floors and pioneered in conscious clubbing, a place where when people arrive, feel home, feel loved, feel appreciated for who they truly are. We are so conditioned to be a certain way by society standards that somewhere we lose ourselves in the patriarchal powers. We just need to be who we truly are. In my practice, I like to create inclusive communities.
On that note, Kannakee, we all know that when you say inclusive, it includes a huge box of ornaments in your life, other than the person and the community that you stay with. What was the journey about these ornaments? I'm asking this question. I think because it plays a role in the practice that you have, or the process that you carry on. What that would be? Would you like to share something about that? You could hear me, Kannakee, right? Okay. While Kannakee answers that, I'm thinking of bringing in, yes, Kannakee.
I think I'm just going to write it.
Yes,
Oh,
you obviously have to write it. I know it's hard to write and express all of it, but at least we get to know some part of it, obviously. I mean, I wish I could tell you that do a voice call, voice message, and Amy hears it and reads on that, but that would be too much. Anushka, tell me whenever you feel like I'm not giving you the chance. If you want to read some of Kannaki's text, you can go ahead. I
No,
don't
I think
mind.
Amy is doing a lovely job as the resident reader.
I feel like that person who would write your exams if you were injured or something, for you.
I would be
Yeah,
the
I feel.
person who gives you my exam sheet to write.
But I like this because it is like no matter what happens, if ever one woman's voice is taken away or unheard, the other women will come up and amplify it. And I think it's a very beautiful metaphor that's playing out right now that I'm seeing.
Lovely,
And I'm really liking the silver lining here.
lovely, lovely.
I think she
So,
deserves to read her answers with that observation.
and me and David can see like the how much she's correcting and like beautifully she's reading. I couldn't have done that. Thank God I have Amy in this session. So, okay. Um, Sorry, I was trying to read. I thought Kannaki wrote something. So I would like to bring in one of our collaborating moderators. At the end, we anyway will have our in-house moderators with us. I'm thinking of bringing in Shilpi Agarwal, to share more about the segment one that she collaborated with us. And you can throw your crazy, wild questions to her. Whatever difficulties you had during segment one, you can just throw in. We will also have the in-house moderator Chimuk with us at some point, so you can save some question for Chimuk also. Let's welcome Shilpi Agarwal on screen. Hi, Shilpi.
Hi Sadya.
Hi.
Hi. Hi Anushka, Amy, Kannakee.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you all?
We're all good, as you can see. We are fulfilling ourselves in
Yeah,
some way.
wonderful.
So tell us, Shilpi. Um, I think I don't know where to start. It's a lot to ask to you. I mean, more than I could ask to the artist, because you have been on the process and also off the process. There has been a process that is off screen. The planning, the co-planning with Chimuk, who is the in-house moderator for segment one, about designing this interaction in the segment one through text. What was the thought process, and how did you felt about it? Tell us everything.
Okay. See, जब हम घर की बात कर रहे हैं तो आई थिंक ये सब्जेक्ट मेरे लिए कभी भी नया नहीं है. एज अ इंडिविजुअल, एज अ वुमन, और the kind of social environment we have. I have always been engaged in context about home, belongingness, experiences, struggle, the radical positions I took. But parallelly, when I got this engagement opportunity, when Chimuk asked me to come and collaborate with us, it was really really interactive. एंड खासकर जब आर्टिस्ट के साथ बातचीत शुरू हुआ तो मुझे लगा कि हम घर को एक तरीके से देख रहे हैं. अगर मैं बात करूं अगर मैं बात करूं पिछले एक लंबे समय को हम लेट्स से टेक ए 30 years or 40 years जर्नी. जब मेरी मदर या आपकी मदर, वी कैन सी देम, दे आर स्टिल इन किचन, दे आर स्टिल कुकिंग एंड सर्विंग फूड टू अस, एंड वी लव दैट. तो हमारे अंदर शायद एज अ वुमन हु बिलोंग टू होम इन अ सर्टन वे, हमने एक इमेज बना ली है. एक फीमेल की एक इमेज है जो किचन से जुड़ी है और वो डाइनिंग टेबल तक आ रही है. लेकिन मुझे लगता है आई विल कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट टू ऑल ऑफ अस जो the kids who are born in 80s or 90s, they really changed, they are coming forward. I think they are taking a lot of radical position. So I think, this discussion is really, really not new. I think many of us struggle. I have migrated from small city in Uttar Pradesh, Lakhimpur Kheri. I had different kind of complexity there. And I thought, yeah, I'm moving to the big city. Delhi is a very big city. More freedom, more access, more, there's no one is going to judge me. I'll not be judged by anyone. But then different kind of complexity came here. I think, but let me come back to the whole section again. But यहाँ पर मुझे लगता है कि जब हमने आर्टिस्ट के साथ एंगेजमेंट किया, स्पेशली अनुष्का, एमी और कैनिकी के साथ जो एक लंबी बातचीत चली, उसमें मुझे कई सारे इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सपेक्टिव मिले. बिकॉज अभी तक वुमेन बिलोंगिंग को शायद मैं अपने पर्सपेक्टिव से देख रही थी या मेरे क्लोज वंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से देख रही थी. बट देन अनुष्का हैज अ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट जर्नी ऑल टुगेदर. And Kannakee has a complete, stand. She took a lot of radical position. She belonged to Guwahati, and how she moved and leave that city in a 15 kg bag and moved to Amsterdam and different kind of countries. She's traveling continuously. So I think, living on a minimalistic idea, what need to be collect, when to abandon. That journey is really, really interesting. It allowed me to think further. Can I take that radical position? And I think कई सारे interesting facts मुझे मिले, while engaging, because being a practitioner मैं अभी तक सिर्फ अपने काम को बहुत close level पे देख रही थी, बहुत micro level पर देख रही थी. But engaging with all of you, it gave me a larger perspective. How, what radical position, one person. I think that is also about perception. That is also about the kind of negotiation we make, and then what a home for us. Though home is not constant, not static, so it keep on changing. I really enjoyed having a conversation with Amy when she, how her personal life changed her, position, her decisions, and now independently she's living in Chandigarh and choosing. And again, how she chose a medium of poetry. I'm sure she did not choose it consciously. I'm sure poetry came to her through her life, through her practice, through her encounters. So I think overall, these expressions are really, really important for individual, for women, for practitioner. How to bring and how to change the new belongingness, or to bring to the new home.
Lovely. That was amazing. Do you? Any of you want to question anything? No crazy questions. I wanted to put Shilpi in trouble. Okay. So while you plan the question, yeah, Shilpi, please.
Sadya, last time we had a word like, can I read one poetry?
Mm-hmm. Yes, but give me just one
Later.
moment.
Yeah,
sure. We will hear Kannakee's answer on the last question that we placed.
That would be wonderful.
About her practice. So, Amy.
So can you repeat the question so that the audience knows what answer, because it's been a while?
Yeah, the core essence of her practice, about her practice and the core essence. And then I was asking about the ornaments and the jewelries that she has, because that's a huge part of her identity and existence, and the practice also. So
Yes,
yeah.
about that, Kannakee says that I have grown up seeing Assamese jewelry from my family, and I love these motifs, designs. Although jewelry is about one's social status, wealth, marital status, warriorhood, and other cultural elements, I started to collect tribal jewelry from many parts of the world. All of these ethnographic objects connect so strongly of identity, yet collecting them and wearing them mixed matched is like celebrating each of these tribes' craft. These are not just jewelry pieces. Every piece has a story to tell. And in some level, you connect to the people of the land, no matter where you're from. So you feel connected as much as I am proud of my Assamese pieces. I love all the rest as well.
Beautiful. I'm sure we get to see some of the jewelries on your Instagram and website, or all your social media. So please dig in and watch that, and be jealous that she has so many of them. But it's a beautiful thinking process behind all these jewelries that you have, Kannakee. It's lovely. Before we start with the poetry from Shilpi, I would just want to say to all the audience that are watching with us, please drop your questions, interact with the artist. I'm getting out of question. Help me out to put this artist in trouble to answer. So please carry on. Shilpi, coming back to you. Let's hear
Yes.
it.
Okay, sure. So this is part of my observatory note. Okay. So this poem is dedicated to most of us, and how we all relate to it.
Lovely.
वो करीने से सजे गुलदस्ते वो करीने से सजे गुलदस्ते मेज पर बिछी क्रोशिया की चादर दरवाजे पे लटकती बंदरवार वो करीने से सजे गुलदस्ते मेज पर बिछी क्रोशिया की चादर दरवाजे पे लटकती बंदरवार वो तस्तरी में रखी रोहफ्जा से भरी गिलासी आले में रखी लालटेन में भरा मिट्टी का तेल वो सिलाई मशीन पर सिलती बिटिया की समीज सिलबट्टे पर पिसती धनिया की गुच्छियां अमियां वो चूल्हे पे जलती लकड़ियों पे पकता गोश्त और और वो खाट पे पसरी थाली चाटती उंगलियां वो आंगन में लगती झाड़ू तश्तरियों से हटती जूठन वो वो आंगन में लगती झाड़ू तख्तियों से हटती जूठन वो रस्सी पर फैली सलवार दीवार पर सूखते उपले की कतार हर वक्त किसी ना किसी उलझन में सने तेरे हाथ हर वक्त किसी ना किसी उलझन में सने तेरे हाथ और चार दीवारी में अंदर और चार दीवारी के अंदर नजरअंदाज होती जाती तू और चार दीवारी के अंदर नजरअंदाज होती जाती तू फिर भी फिर भी तू सोचती है कि ये तेरा घर है फिर भी तू सोचती है कि ये तेरा घर है
Beautiful. Wow.
Seriously.
Kannakee, did you got all of it? Some part of it?
Kannakee, we can discuss later and I can translate
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
You
We
know,
have all the alternatives.
this reminded me of a very small and a powerful poem that a friend of mine wrote and just came to me. If you allow me, I would like to read, because we got one perspective here, that how though everything that is that is seemingly homely is around, but still sometimes a woman doesn't feel at home, and then there is this poem that I would like to read. It's written by Ankita Anand. She's a poet and journalist based out of Delhi. And she wrote कि अंतत मैंने वो मकान पा लिया जिसकी हर खिड़की से पेड़ दिखता था। औरत होने के नाते मुझसे उम्मीद की गई कि मैं उसे घर बनाऊं। औरत होने के नाते मुझसे उम्मीद की गई कि मैं उसे घर बनाऊं। मैंने देखा मेरे चारों ओर बिना कुछ किए सब कुछ फूल फल रहा है। उस दिन पहली दफा मुझे जरूरत महसूस नहीं हुई कि किसी को मेरी ज़रूरत पड़े और मैं बेढंगे तौर से सोफे पर पसर किताब पढ़ने लगी. Yes, that's all.
It's beautiful.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Amy. Thank you, Amy. So, as everyone can see, we're nothing can stop us. The language, the sound, the technical problem. Like, I don't know. I shouldn't say. I don't want to exclude anyone, but women are actually so fulfilling because
Yeah.
they know they can do it. They know how to try. They always try for it. So we have a question from Anu Singh. Lockdown has been tough on all of us on some level. I think a lot of people got very demotivated. How did you manage to motivate yourself and be creative even during this time? Who wants to answer that? Anushka, let's hear it from you. You
Yeah.
haven't spoken for a while.
And that is one of my closest friends. So I think I should definitely try and answer that. I think again it goes back to finding the answers within yourself and stop depending on an unpredictable world to find comfort and a sense of creativity or push. Because at the end of the day, if you depend on something that you can't control, then you end up becoming demotivated. Because as hard as you try, it's you're trying to grasp something that isn't stable. But once you just uncover these layers of yourself and realize that the only thing you can control is how you view yourself and your art, every decision that you make after that comes from a sense of taking care of your art. Or because it's like your art, like I always say that art your art is basically like your children, so you have to nurture it and watch it grow. I feel like every time you're too hard on it, then the growth gets hindered. But once you just shower it with love and understanding, because you know where your art's coming from, then you just watch it grow. Like you don't have to do anything that's, really hard to do. You just have to take care of what you create.
I think if I also want to add some points to this, it comes to the first perspective that we started. Also, the process in Women at Work, that creativity is a process. Once you start looking at it as a deliverable product, it becomes problematic for you. It can become problematic, and you think you can't work because you take it as a work, but it is something that you live through. It's not some chores in your house or a particular work. So that's one thing from my side. Also, I would also like to share that we conceptualized Women at Work, the whole process, actually during this time when we saw life getting in this new normality, being digital, and then what we were actually doing on digital. It's just presenting another artificial self of us, or trying to explore our inner self and trying to help us together in a collaborative platform. And that's where actually Women at Work also started. And as you can see, all the segments are using different digital domains. That the process helps you. Also, it reflects on how our lives can be in the new normal when we are actually trying to survive in digital time. It's what happens when you live in different digital domains and you lose the physical domain. I mean, you have no other choice than losing the physical domain. So that's something I really I'm glad to share from Women at Work. I would like to hear something from Shilpi on this, and also I'll go to Kannakee on this question.
Okay.
Shilpi, first of all, how do you, I mean, did you felt demotivated, and if you felt, how did you came out from that? And I also would like to add from Women at Work side, how did this process added or like added goodness or misery to that? Both you can share.
Okay, so I think being an art practitioner, I often get demotivated. It's not new for me. So every time, so I think our life has changed a lot. We do not look at art production in a same way. You know, going to the kitchen at times, cooking, it may be a part of art, but at times you look at art in a certain way. Maybe you're writing a piece, maybe doing paint, or maybe writing a poetry, or talking to collective or groups of friends. I think this time has been tough for me too, especially in March and April. It's been a tough time. But then initially, I got engaged with an NGO, creating some uh, like infographics for them, and also some comic illustrations for them. And then also, we try to engage to look at the people who are not having meal, food, basic necessity. And in a certain way, we're always trying from our ends. So I think this process always, this demotivation and motivation is ongoing. That will keep on coming to you and keep on going. You always need to find something to do every day in your life. But this last whole month engagement was really, really positive for me. I enjoyed the whole process, every day writing till late night, talking to all of you. And I think this collective was really, really meaningful. I think many of us kind of loses that form. हम घर में रह रहे हैं लेकिन घर में बातचीत नहीं हो रही है, कोई डायलॉग नहीं है लोगों के साथ घर में. तो मुझे लगता है कि लोग हम कहीं ना कहीं सोशल मीडिया पे वो डायलॉग ढूंढ रहे हैं, बहुत सारे वीडियोस देख रहे हैं, इंस्टाग्राम पे फोटोज देख रहे हैं, but are we really connected to that? So maybe we can think about that collective can be inside the house and collective can be an outside house. One need to look for that. So if dialogue is happening, you'll be enough motivated to do something concrete or something very which give you energy, which give you power, which give you a happy feeling. Maybe sitting on a sofa or drinking tea or writing a piece, not consciously or unconsciously. So it can be done many ways. I mean, I like walking every night, and I try when I get upset, I go for a long walk, and I listen a lot of Hindi poets, or I listen Hindi साहित्य के बहुत सारे poets हैं, उनको मैं सुनना पसंद करती हूँ. So I think first of all we need to ask what we want, because at times at home
You have to figure out
yeah
within your comfort zones or within your
Yeah.
favorable things.
yeah
Thank you so much, Shilpi. It was lovely hearing you, and thank you for being in the episode with us. And I'm sure
Thank
you
you.
will stay with us. We also have Nisha, who was our collaborator in segment 1 in the previous episode, episode 2. We will also hear what she has to share, what she felt during the episode and after the episode now maybe. We'll stay in touch, Shilpi. Thank you for being with
Yes.
us.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you
take
for
a leave
inviting
from
me.
you now. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, back to my lovely artist. Do we have anything we want to read? Yes, we have from Kannakee. Kannakee, this is like so lovely. The effort you're putting in. I'm really, really thankful to you. Really thankful to you. And thank you very much, Amy, for completing this whole thing, for making this
Anytime.
possible. Yes,
So-
let's hear the motivational process from Kannakee.
For Kannakee, Kannakee says, had to always find creative ways to get going. So even through a pandemic, we should not be allowed to stop what we love most and be grateful for online virtual platforms adapting to the new normal. On work front, we started with silent disco ecstatic dance in open spaces with the 1.5 meter distance, and that no matter what, we never stopped dancing. Um, Also, this time, a lot of people have found the rest from being in an otherwise rat race, and bringing these dances in public spaces was a great way to introduce people into dancing, moving, and just letting loose. Unfortunately, last week, with super tight measures, we had to shut all of that. The idea is to connect. So we motivate people to make real connections, hoping for better and brighter days when that can be possible again.
We hope that too. Lovely initiative.
Yes.
I mean, it's a lovely way that you look at all this interaction and plan things. All the best for that. So now I would ask again, I start this time, A for Apple is Anushka. So tell us, Anushka,
Yes.
the one thing you will take as, as your belonging from the project in the new normal life that we already are in? Do you
What am
have
I
any new
taking
belonging
from this?
from this project, this process, from us? Was there
Okay.
anything added to your belonging list, the things that belongs to you?
Um, what more are you asking what more I'm getting from my art in terms of
No,
belonging?
no. From this process of Woman at Work, what do
Okay,
you
okay.
take away in the new normal life? What do you think will be a belonging, or will be something that you would like to carry on during this process of getting into new normal life?
Okay. I think it's just to keep creating, to keep pushing the depth of how much I can search for the art in myself. And it is about removing layers and adding layers. And that's a lot. And that I myself am a product of my art. And I think that's what mainly I realized. I didn't even realize that my self portraits were a form. Like I was using myself as an art form. I was just creating. I didn't realize, but I think that's what I've realized, that in my understanding of myself, I do see myself that way. And I guess yeah, and connecting with amazing women artists from across the like country and globe. It's a beautiful experience to feel the same things so deeply in different ways. And yeah, I think overall, just
Yay! We add to
that.
we add to Anushka's belongings. उनके सूटकेस
Yes.
में जाने वाले हैं हम जब वो
हाँ,
बुके पे जाएंगे.
दीवार पे चिपकाऊंगी मैं.
Okay, let's hear it from Amy and Kannakee. The same thing goes for you. What Women at Work have added to your life as a belonging in the new normal life, in the new normal time that we're passing? Let's hear it from Amy now.
मेरे ख्याल से 2 चीज़ें जो बहुत स्टैंड आउट कर रही हैं एज़ अ टेक अवे. Firstly, the practice of expanding my perspective on anything by listening to other people and be open to their perspective. And that is something that, it's a very utopian thought. You believe that you're that kind of person, but that thought, for it to translate into action, you need to put in effort. You need to write to other people. You need to make time to listen to them. You need to put questions. You need to get into uncomfortable discussions, and all of that needs time and space that you need to create. So I understood that a lot of time we are just in a certain way in our heads, but not in our practice. So that's one takeaway, to be an expansive, open, listening person who is open to other people's ideas as much as she's open to her own. That's the most important takeaway. And the other is that in this new normal, I was also kind of getting hooked to the idea of public spaces only outside. But what I realized is that the social media, the online, the internet space is as much public space as a park or a parking lot or a bazaar. People are here, especially when we are not going out. We are all here. So I've always been a little uh, एडमेंट और झिझक थी मेरे अंदर हमेशा इस मीडियम को एक्सप्लोर करने की. बट व्हाट आई फाउंड वर्किंग और कनेक्टिंग विद यू ऑल, the possibility of finding a family, possibility of finding a tribe, you know, that opened up for me. So I think that was another beautiful takeaway for me, that we can't hold judgments against anything.
Yeah.
So you got to make the most of what you get. So right now, if the only access we have is on social media and on online platforms, then we make the most to stay connected through these. So that's
But will
another
you still write letters to us?
Of course, that's never stopping. Never
Put a
ever.
mask inside the envelope and send with the letter.
Bilkul.
Okay.
That's the
Let's hear it
plan.
from Kanaki.
Kaniki says that with women at work, I am taking all the beautiful relationships I made with each one of you to co-create and collab and grow as a collective in future. Yes, that's what she says.
Okay.
And I second that, I roger that, I copy that.
Okay. So we're almost at the end of this conversation. We can go all night long, I know, as long as Amy is with us to read out and speak and talk and everything. But we have to end this here for today. And as you know, it's this all the platforms that we use, the Blogspot and the Instagram and this Facebook is always open for you. Add in your thought process, your comments, and whatever you want to share. Keep this family going on. And it was a lovely journey with all three of you. I'm sure I mean, you already shared. You had a great time knowing each other also, and I'm sure there is a lot more to know and a lot more to share in coming days. All the best for that. I would slowly like to bring in our moderators, but first let's bring in curator in the house before you all three leave. Let's bring in Mitali with us.
Hi there.
Yay!
So Mitali, let me introduce Mitali here. Mitali is our curator for the third episode that started from 11 October, and today is the last day with the last segment. Mitali, welcome on the stage, and let's
Thank you
hear
so much.
your lovely, lovely words.
Uh, I'm
Tell us
so
about the thought
overwhelmed.
process. Tell us about how you extracted this home and belonging. Because as far as we all know, and artists also know, this was not something we imposed on artists. It was something you extracted
Yeah.
from their processes. So share about that, please.
So all of these artists I've been in touch with for some time separately, and even I did not know that this is going to be developed like this. And with each of them, what I thought was very important was the earnestness all of them have, and they are very young. So I really like to work with very young artists so that very early on, as art practitioners we can all work together as collectives, so it will always create a newer world. So that's how it was thought about initially, and then each of these artists we've been trying to. I think Kaneki was the one with whom I interacted really recently, but the other two artists have been interacting for a long time now. But they all of them gelled so well, and I was very keen. I think we, as a collective, we were very keen to have a spoken word artist, a movement artist, and an artist who could understand identity, or the dynamics of identity on a very everyday basis. So these are the foundations which have built this project together, this process together. And as we conversed, as we spoke to each other, this is the central theme that emerged on its own, of home and belonging, of always being in movement, of always being in public spaces. And space is such a big thing for an artist in general, because whenever, especially when we are doing visual art or something, we always feel that we are taught also to deal with spaces, with the depth, with volume. So, and that is what our whole life is actually. On a very, very, very cellular level, I felt we should all be able to connect to each other so much that we should be able to uh, move and function like one organism. And it's certain that we have all felt like that, and it's been a wonderful experience. Uh, it feels very strange to say I. That is, as an individual, the it's not that your individuality goes away, it becomes expanded and becomes inclusive, and it incorporates all the eyes of so many of you around. So it becomes we in a very, very dynamic and in a very established manner, that it's difficult to uh, explain, but when you're going through the process, it changes you for life. So every time for example, every time I'm about to say it is an automated response of the body and mind now, not to be able to say it. And either it becomes a third person or it becomes a statement, and the I is removed or it is replaced by we. So with that very core concept, with that very core, very very established practice that we could kind of incorporate within our lives, uh, I think that we are going ahead with it in a very positive manner. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
being
Mitali.
there. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah,
Stay with us, stay on the stage, because we have, more things to share with our audience and who have
yeah,
been part
yeah.
of us. I can see a comment from our artist from the episode 1. She says, I'm proud part of this project. We are proud that you were
Yeah.
proud part of this project. We were like so happy. Proudness is just a small part. We were really happy and we cherish everything, every artist that involved, and so many more artists we need to get in this family, I'm sure. And so I would like to take a leave from the artist now. If you would like to share any last note um, from us, written or audio. For Kannakee, I'm saying this. Any last note, and then I'm going to bring in the moderators in the house to share more newses. Amy, what happened? Oh, it's 11. Huh.
Yeah,
For the
she
ones who
says.
are watching us and do not know the context to this, allow me. I sleep really early, so like 10:30. I am fast
This
asleep
is
by
like
that
midnight.
time. So now I'm like really trying hard to be awake and listen and respond. So that was a comment on that.
No. Many, like majority of us is like, yeah, night owls, but it's really lovely that you have a good timetable to rest. And yeah, no wonder that's why you're always so charming and full of energy. So let's
Sis,
end
I
this.
think I think just a few things that I've put in place, like a structure that helps me sustain everything. Otherwise,
Exactly.
it's so easy to just uh, fizzle out and be drained with so much
True.
happening around you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. You need your self-care and you need your own
Yes.
schedule for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Amy, for being with us. Kannakee and Anushka for being with us. I can see Kannakee wrote us something. I have
Yeah.
nothing much to say. Just lastly, thanks to Mitali for reaching out and how this small action turned out to be we.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you,
That's
Kannakee, for sharing this.
that's the final thought that there is a lot of I-ness in us. We come with I think, I feel, I have, I do, I. The moment we got into this process, that I was taken away and it became me. And that's how I think it's going to be for me with this tribe and possibly for other tribes that I interact with. We. Thank
All
you
right.
for having us
On
and
that
thank
note,
you for creating this. Shukriya.
thank you, Amy. Thank you, Kannakee. Thank you, Anushka. Anushka, would you like to say anything at the last note?
Just that what a beautiful journey it is, and there's nothing women can't do when we put our minds and hearts and souls together.
Amazing. Chalo. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So let's see who else we have in the house. I would like to bring in our other moderators. Our moderator for the segment 1, Chimuk. And how can I not invite Shilpi when I call in Chimuk? So Shilpi and Chimuk was our co-moderators in segment 1 in this episode. And then we have our special guest, also another special guest, who is Nisha. I want to bring in Nisha, who is not giving us the visual. And oh, Nisha is on visual. Great. And also Imran. Can we have Imran's visual, please? Oh, hello, Imran. So before I start with anyone else, I would really, really like Imran to speak, because this is the segment that we speak the least, because that's a like core expertise that we leave on Imran. And so Imran, this time, as the last episode of this season one in 2020, let's hear it from you. And I would really like you to talk about the segment two that you look after, and the process that you design, and how, and how you actually figure out those lovely stories in your visual. Tell us about it, Imran.
Yeah. So I really like to talk about not only about this episode, but about the entire season that we have completed. I think
Please.
I am the only male person who is experiencing all these things, and I was listening. And honestly, I have grown up with many ladies. My cousins are all women, and I have played with them, and I grew up with them. Today, when I was listening to all of you, today actually my wife isn't at home. She went somewhere else. So I was actually thinking that what we call a home without presence of the loved ones who surrounds you all the time. So it's not about the women who are only working in the kitchen. It's about their presence also. That's what I feel is very important, and that makes a house a home. So I really appreciate all the women for helping us and taking care of us. But yeah, this was a beautiful experience working with so many artists from around the world, and I'm really looking forward to the next season when we can do a longer kind of a experimental work here. And for that, I think we see what I want to tell all of us discuss is that creating this kind of a platform and this kind of a project is a immense work. So there is a huge work which goes on the back end, and we need all of we need to collaborate with artists, we need to collaborate with people who are like-minded, who can come on board and actually collaborate with us on the next season. That is what I'm really looking forward, and I really ask people to come and join us.
True. Yeah, we all would like to ask in our surroundings, the people we know.
Correct.
It's not. It is conceptualized by four of us, of course, but there is a whole lot of space to collaborate, and we want to bring in. As you can
Correct.
see already on screen, we have Nisha and Shilpi, which is part of the collaboration that we designed. So thank you for bringing this up, Imran. And I don't know, we can't. If we can declare the dates, but next year, any sooner, we will be starting our season two. The core process would be there. We would add in new things that we learned from this season, and we will adopt new things. But Imran, would you like to elaborate a bit more about the segment two that you moderate?
Yeah, so the segment two is specifically a visual medium, where initially when we started thinking about this entire model, that we the users of today's social media are very used to on scrolling like upward scrolling or downward scrolling. So what we have tried to do when we use the platform called Instagram for this visual medium, we tried to do create a library where there is a macro view and a micro view. So whenever we are looking at a particular image or a particular communication which has been posted, it tells the story in 2 level or 3 levels. So the person just if the person is only scrolling it on a feed kind of a field, so they will not understand the entire thing. If you understand the entire communication, entire message, then you have to actually interact and dig into the layers which are hidden inside. So that was the basic idea of using this platform, and how to navigate through the process, that the library that we have created here.
And how was your journey in all this episode of creating the visual story? Because it's not only one person's visual that you put in the library. It's not only the library experience that you create a combined experience of three or four of the artists that contribute in each episode.
See,
So
what I've tried to do is that it's not anything that I have thought before starting the process. What I have done every time when I got to see the work that these artists have been producing, and as you know that we have a drive where we all the artists put their work, and when I go through them, some narrations come to my mind, and I tried to whip those images or videos, or you can say the audio visuals in a manner so that they can also depict a singular communication. Along with that, they can have their own kind of a the essence that the artist has been created, that remains intact. So that is how I have tried to work with on the library part.
and is that has been a very challenging thing for you? Did you
Yes,
did you sometimes feel like,
yes.
oh wow, where did I
See,
start it?
you we have one spoken word artist, and you asked me to represent her on a visual media. So it's become very difficult. So,
And
but
and she is a public poet, and she doesn't
yeah.
document herself in the public performance. So yes, so okay, congratulations for that challenge. But it worked out perfect. I think you figured out the
Yeah, I loved
visual.
it. I loved it.
Thank you so much, Imran, for this insights. Let's go to Nisha. Nisha, how are you? Unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi, Nisha. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. It's like, I still remember that smiley I was talking about. Every time you call me, I just feel like, covering my face and just like running away. Not because you're going to give some work to me, but because I'm like just like totally frightened about everything in general.
But so for those who didn't noticed, I was telling this before. The Nisha has been our collaborating moderator in episode 2, in the segment 1, and like Shilpi is doing in episode 3. And it has been an amazing journey with Nisha. So Nisha, share your experience. What you feel? What was your feeling being in the episode now when you see another episode and a new dimension of artist coming together? What is your observation all through?
Yeah, it was really wonderful. I mean, listening to such such beautiful souls. I mean, I really enjoyed the conversation, Sadya. And when you invited me to be an observer, my whole idea, like when I think of an observer, I think of it to be very voyeuristic. I think of it to be something that's very it's about the gaze and how you, but what I tried to do in my work was to actually change that particular position from that of an observer to that of a performer. I was basically performing during that time, during my entire period of uh,
Wow.
this whole thing. And for me, like when Chimuk wanted to, like, and end of the whole process, I was like really drained because I was really giving, it was not just about looking at and writing about these artists. And it was really not about that. It was really about getting to know myself through these very artists. And I could learn a lot more through this. And yeah, but actually, what was your question? I forgot. What were you asking, Sadya?
I was asking your experience. I think you already explained a lot how
Yeah.
you went through a performance through this.
Yeah, and it's actually like it really stays with me, because for me, all these people that I meet, I always, as Kannakee was saying, it's really something that you can keep for your lifetime. It's really about getting in touch with them even after you sort of finish a particular work. So everything is taken, the next work is always from the previous work. Whatever you do is always from the previous work, right? So, and I wouldn't say it's work, it's just a part of being yourself. I wouldn't call it work. And
Sure.
I think rightly that's what Anushka also said. It's really not about performing, it's really about just being yourself. Where is that division between the actual performance and the person itself? So it is about that. And yeah, thank you so much for actually inviting me. I don't want to like say anything further and make a mess out of it. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's skip that portion and let's hear it from Shilpi. Can you connect some of the things that Nisha is sharing here?
Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
think when Nisha is talking about, when engaging with artists and she's almost looking herself from those perspective, I think I can relate to her in some sense. When I was talking to Amy, especially, and also with Kannakee, I think on a personal ground, I always try to at times to look at these negotiations and also look at, what kind of radical position I can make or cannot make. So I think these are very, very overall, inviting, dialogues, perspective, and maybe I would like to go back and look myself more closely in a certain way. So I think these things are very interesting. But then one more thing which I'm interested to bring here is about this initiative overall. I think, I mean, me and Chimuk and many friends of mine, we always keep on trying to bring, the idea of collective to work for longer time. We tried sometime and sometime we failed. Or I think I've been hearing from lot many collective to come to work together. But this time, you guys maintain it, brought it for a long time, for 3 months, continuous effort. Lot many people bringing on board, and you're again trying to, to come to the next episode. That's really, really wonderful to hear that. I think overall.
Yes. Thank you so much, Nisha and Shilpi, for being with us and contributing this lovely words and your process and to performance, whatever you call it, your time and your support. I'd like to ask Chimuk if you want to add anything to them. Otherwise, I'll take leave from Nisha and Shilpi, and together we four say goodbye to the first season and announce the new season beginning and end this segment today. Chimuk, any words?
Uh, Thank you, everyone. I hope I'm
Yes.
properly audible, and really warm feeling to listen throughout the time. Like I was, like my position was little bit difficult because I was insider, right? Like I was being involved from the very beginning, and like while I was listening, I was kind of internally summarizing, like, okay, like throughout the time, like what we deal with is not just a problem. It's about mapping the obstacles and finding out the clues together. And honestly, it is absolutely was not possible without the helping hands. Possibly, I'm the luckiest one. Like the way Imran was probably deal with one of the things which is very difficult by single hand, because while we were watching in Instagram, it was super nice, like every day posting once and another. But what Imran was saying, that there's a background which is more logistical and technical, and that took a lot of effort. Whereas my case, yes, I put strategies, I develop, and that's my job. That I enjoy a lot, and that's what I always feel that is my comfort. But my moderators, other moderators, also the curators, help me to have one or two more opinion. Like Sadhya really literally helped me to have a new voice or perspective in the episode 2 on while she was curating. She said, let's try with this experiment. I was confused and I said, okay, what I'm going to get out of it, and then I understand the benefit of having a new persons doesn't matter observer, moderator, viewer, because that gives a new challenge. And that's opened my mind. Like when I was asking Shilpi, I actually called twice. First time I was confused, like what I'm trying to do with her. Second time I'm very confident because I know me and Shilpi, one thing we are constantly talking, I don't know how long, this is not about women at work, this is not about any project, it's about wonderful language and the politics of having or not having a language. Like when Nisha was giving us a scope where it was like visual image, like a diagram, as a closing statement, I was really overwhelming for me. Like, wow, this I was never expecting. Or like there is one particular particular post which is fabulous. Like even inside our group, some people said like, is it a glitch? He literally wrote in HTTP code word, like, and I'm so proud. Like somebody can think because people are talking that is it about a text? Is it about an article? Is it about in notes? No, it's about synthesis. Literally about synthesis, like with symbols. Yeah, like if you yeah, of wow, thank you, Sadhya. This is and these particular things I totally remember. Like me, Nisha, and later on I was asking Sadhya, like help me because I don't want to put it as a text, but then it's as a comment image, and there are technicalities, and finally we posted like the way it is, like without disturbing any sort of thing. And so while I was writing Shilpi, I thought like we'll bring a new energy. And if all my viewer doesn't know that Shilpi was very good with algorithmic mapping, like she called infographics, like and in art and art historical
Just
study,
to
we had
just to interrupt you for 1 second, Chimu, please carry on. For the audience, I'm just clearing it out. I'm showing the parts of the blog, which is the first segment interaction platform for us. I'm just scrolling it down for a better view for the audience that are with us. For those who haven't read it, go and read and enjoy it. And there is a lot of things that you will enjoy reading. Please carry on, Chimu.
yeah, no, I'm saying that only like you can see like after episode 3, I really thank Mitali and also my last curator Sadhya, and you see how much energy we put over there. Like we're looking at Kivitra, we are looking at Reshma, we're looking at Rokia with Tilakama, Kipa, Shumona, Priti. Like they are so intense. Like now when they are saying it was the best the experience, I think the credit goes to everyone. It goes to everyone. Like they allow me to do such thing because when I ask, I was talking with Shilpi a particular night. I remember she was saying it is really going to be hard. Like while you are asking a writer to write something, it's easy because you can control. But while you are asking to find more catalysts who talk behalf, then you are like taking a hell lot of challenge on your shoulder. And me and Shilpi finally agreed. Let's do that. Like yeah, like and so I'm really thankful all
And
of
what
our
a lovely
viewers.
combination of languages, like we just did in this talk, right? Nothing could
Yeah,
be a boundary when you have collaboration together. So
exactly.
that's the intention to show this. You can see different languages, different signs, and yeah. And Chimuk, let's talk about the last piece. I think you were almost getting there about Shilpi. Let's hear
Exactly.
this.
This is what I was so inspired. Like I'm really sorry to all of you. Like Shilpi can make like huge canonical form. Like because we have time crunch and we have to adjust with things. She literally can make like if you click you can get a larger image. Just you have to click already hyperlink on that image. So you will literally see like how minutely observed she all of the data, and then she tried to make like algorithmic mapping. And she said I want to still continue, like it's not ended, like probably this blog is not ended, it's like a collective village what we have created, and she can reflect over the period, and we can add. And this is what I was talking about. Like, this is what I was extremely interested to have here in the other one properties, because as Mitali and Imran also saying at the very beginning about this project, that this is a pilot we are doing, and this is only one time we have to explore all sort of tangent we can apply. Doesn't matter we success we fail, because Women at Work for me it's not a project. It's like a participatory we build where we make together, we
It's a
live together.
durational research for all of us, I guess.
Absolutely. Like, for example, like because the segment 2, which is one of my other favorite segment, people are talking about like putting input, right? But for me, like, I was thinking how artists select their own material. They drop and then they erase. And I was also noticed like the way Imran choosing intentionally, which is not very subtle, a very subtle amount. Like, that's a curatorial like in process which I always thrilled about. Like, exactly, like if you see, like, we have to modify, we have to have whatever we can have, like in terms of visual in online globe.
Yeah, it's a total different interaction in your mobiles for audience. I'm just giving a glimpse of it, that how the library actually looks. This was this episode and the previous episode as well. Yeah, carry on, Chimo.
No, that's all. Like, I was really fascinated. Like, and then like when it comes to segmentary, I'm giving an overall panoramic idea, like why Women
Yeah,
at
and
Work.
also Mitali, if you want to add anything, any of you, just raise your hand and say.
Like, just I'm going to conclude my things like with one line,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Mitali
sure.
can, yeah. Like, when it comes to segment 3, which is about, like, me and Mitali was talking, like, okay, what if there are no performance artists? What if they're a photographer? And then one day, me and Mitali kind of like decompose this entire idea. What is performativity mean in context of South Asian, which is all the time, like Mitali was saying, let's suppose South Asian cultural unities, which is very different than like Western understanding of curation. Like here also, like when Mitali was literally saying, I don't want any exclusive material. Like, well, episode 1, I remember, like she literally said to people, like, do what you want. That's a give huge confidence, like beyond the curators. Like, doesn't matter, like do whatever you want. And what we did, we make beautiful food. And for audience, I really like to share, this is very important note, that how we are different, how we can still work with micro budget. We have a very different model of finance. We have a very different understanding of curatorial stabilization, because we try to grow together. Like, I called Shumona, one of our artists, after the program, and she exactly said, the roti I made, this is for my husband and for my child. Not a fancy business at all. Like, so whatever we have, we are with there. Like, yeah, exactly. We shared with the struggle. Like, and that's I'm so thankful to all my teammates. Like, thank you, Nisha. Thank you, Shilpi. I'm fortunate I have 2 beautiful friends like to helping in my particular segment. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Chimo, for sharing all this. So I'll say goodbye to Nisha and Shilpi for now. Not for now, for this
Yeah.
conversation, the live only, from nothing else. So stay in touch, stay well, and let's see what we do next together. Right? Thank you both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Bye.
inviting. Bye, Sadya. Bye, Mitali. Bye, Chimo, Kimran, Nisha.
Bye. Bye, Nisha. Bye, Shilpi. All right, this is our full house now. For all the audience that have, those who have been with us, I know this has been a long conversation, but what to do? The experiences and the dimensions are so lengthy that we can't keep it in shorter version. From my side, again, I would say this is. I would just want to inform the formal informations. This was the 3rd episode of season 1 in Women at Work of 2020. We end this season of this year with this segment, with this live, but we don't end our process. The blogspot, the Instagram that I just showed on screen goes on. It's open, it's public platform. You can always interact. We also have the live action on Townscript, which will be up in an accessible way sooner. So stay with us, and we're looking forward to come back with the season 2 soonest. Let's hear it from Mitali and Imran as the last note, and then we end this conversation. Mitali.
I just want to say life is such
The audio is
yes,
not very clear, Mitali.
it-
Yeah, I think it's good now.
now
Yes. Cool.
audible. Okay. So life in general is like if we all can take it to the level of performativity, it is much easier to live it because it comes from an understanding, a critical understanding of how we are doing something and why we are doing something and where we are going. So that journey itself is like far more important than any other journey that any artist anywhere in the world is initiating. So when we come together, it's nice and it's important that we are being able to even deconstruct, reconstruct, reimagine, doing a lot of things from our daily lives and taking it to a level of art and making art part of daily life, which is uh, absolutely breaking it down from a very esoteric level. That's very important.
Thank you, Mitali. Yes, Chimu? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, just one quick note which I was constantly thinking to share for the audience, that women are really interested to expand in various levels. Whoever you are, wherever you are right now, if you think there is a possibility to interact, and there are women who are working, because there is a significant question came to us, like what happened with those women who doesn't have an opportunity of work. I like to share that all women are working beyond the artistry.
True.
And absolutely, so women are might not getting job, not getting paid, but they are always working.
Okay.
With my transitions, with my understanding, with my around the femininity, I understand women are constantly working. The labor is always exists. Please connect with us in like on your own level, and we'd love to come back. School, college, institutions. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. This is a format that can be accommodated in many perspectives,
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
many practices. So if you're even confused, drop in your queries, get into
Absolutely.
conversation.
Yeah.
All four of us is always available. You can see the website down there in the scroll, and on Facebook we have the page. Drop in your messages. Imran, let's end this with your final note.
So I think we really need all of our viewers' support and the artists from all over the world to collaborate and to continue this practice. And I'm sure if we can continue, then कारवा चलता जाएगा और कहानी बनती जाएगी.
Exactly.
I feel there is both, I was thinking today morning that why we are doing 3 episodes in a season. It's because we are human beings who are running this, and we need our break. We need to be in other work. This is not the only work that we're doing in life. So that's the practical aspect of it also. But then the brain is always going on in this process. So we're always open also, being the human being. So thank you, Imran. Thank you, Mitali. Chimu. Let's end this conversation today here for now, and let's think about the new journey ahead.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sadya,
all.
for hosting all of
For
us.
talking so much. For talking so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, like to finding out
It's
the
wonderful.
Wonderful.
You're most welcome. The
Beautiful,
pleasure
beautiful.
is mutual. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being with
Bye-bye.
us and sharing your comments and lovely support. We look forward for your contribution, support, participation, collaboration in future also. Stay with us. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.